What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Team Solemn Circus deck profile. Today we're going over branded Despia. This is my third place deck profile from last week. I did only lose one match that day. It was to Tempai. It was kind of unfortunate there. You know, they didn't have enough. I opened bad game one, and then game two, I just puppet locked, and I believe game three, I just didn't open up good enough. But before I dive into, for like, comment, share, channel a lot, we are on 45 cards. I'll be explaining why some cards didn't make the cut. But yeah, we're going to be diving on in. Starting off with 3 Albaz. This is very standard. You need 3 of it. You know, you have to play 3 just because of the resource management that's needed in the game. Sometimes you burn 2 of them. Triple copies of Aluber, double copies of Quem. I haven't thought about changing these ratios at all. You know, some people are on 3 Quem. I think that 2 Quem is definitely mandatory in the deck. You have to play 2 of it. We are on still in the 2 copies of Cartesia. Now, this card, I have thought about adding a 3rd copy to it. If I was playing a 50 or a 60 card list, this definitely would be my next edition. But right now, I just think it's really fine. You know, opening up's nice as well with the Albaz and stuff, but like you don't ever need like multiple copies. It's only like if one gets banished, something like that, or you're playing not greatly. And then we also are playing the triple copies of Albion. Before I was cutting down to this, like when I was playing 40 cards, it was at 2. But at 45, you can just play at 3. You just see it consistently. And then like my opponents the other day was like, how many of these are you playing? Like I just constantly see you constantly drawing 1 card every turn, which is kind of crazy. We were getting into a grind game versus Melodious, and it was at the point where I just didn't have any branded spells left in the deck. We're playing the 1 Tragedy and the double copies of Mercurier. So we're not playing Allure of Darkness in this build. Like, once again, if we were playing 50 or 60, we would definitely bump them up. The reason why I'm playing double Mercurier is because it's not only just good having it in the hand. You don't play any other hand traps. So, you know, if we do summon this out and we send it to the graveyard, or if we already discard it, our opponent doesn't think we have another one in the hand. So they kind of like just play very degenerately. Also, we are playing, instead of Foolish, we're playing a copy of the Gold Shark. So just being able to start off with a Gold Shark, banish this, be able to search for a copy of like Cartesia, and then having the other one you can search off the Lost can really come up. We are playing the 1 Sorenir and 1 Lubellion, as well as the 1 copy of Puppet Nightmare. So I actually saw this card the most out of the entire day, even more than a copy of Branded Fusion. I don't really know why I saw this so much. It did help me win a game against Centurion. I was able to discard it off the copy of Forbidden Droplets, and then being able to, I had a Sorenir in the hand as well, so I was like be able to banish one of his cards and then just be able to tribute off, which was nice for Lost, which was really cool because the counter trap only negates activation, so being able to put Lost in the field definitely protects me from that if they have to kind of like banish something else instead, or negate something else instead. But it didn't really matter because I was able to just win the game there with the droplets, being able to negate his copy of whatever, because I had a trap, being able to stop Crimson Dragon. Then we are playing the 3 copies of Branded Fusion, 3 copies of Branded Opening, 3 copies of Branded Deployment. Not much to say about these. These are all very standard. Branded Openings is an insane card. Being able to like play it in main phase 3 in your end phase. So you can sometimes just add it to the hand, activate it, send the copy of Cartesia that you already used, go for the Quem, and then if you have like another copy of Mirror Jade on the field, you can just activate the effect. Quem can bring out the copy of Cartesia. You have it during like the turn. This just brings out the ceiling. I always thought that like High Spirits is really good, but this card is absolutely crazy right now as well. You need to play 3 of it. Being able to protect is nice as well from the Princess. But like just having the consistency and being able to play in the draw phase, because draw is really relevant as well, is just really nice. Then we are playing only the 1 Branded in Red, 1 Branded in High Spirits, and the 1 Branded Lost. So a lot of builds are playing like multiple copies of this and multiple copies of Sorenir or the copy of Magnamut. We're choosing not to. This is cool to dump off a copy of Quem because it can add itself back or whatever else you want to be dumping. Just being able to add it back so you can have the Albaz effect in the next turn, which is really, really relevant in this format. Being able to summon it out like mid of their opponent's combo, go for the Lubellion using their Dark Monster, and then go up into a Mirror Jade. Gets rid of 2 cards, which is really important, and then of course this can activate in the graveyard, being able to add it back, which is nice. Branded in Red, I do love this card at 2, but being able to loop it is a little bit more consistent right now, and I just really like it. And Branded Lost probably should just be banned. Now for the other cards, we're playing the 1 copy of Gold Shark, 1 copy of Cobble the Grave. We can't play any more of it, therefore we're not playing Foolish, because like before I was always thinking like, okay, well if you Foolish a copy of like Tragedy, it's nice. If you foolish a copy of Sorenir, it's nice. If you foolish a copy of Guinea Puppet Nightmare, it's nice. But the thing is we are in a format where like Branded can get into the grind game. So being able to like dump or banish this, like a banish and occur, like I mentioned earlier, get the effect to search, and then having like a lot of the times you are going to be getting to go to that second standby phase, and you'll be able to add back the Mercury, which essentially just wins you the game, is just really nice. And then of course we hate Ash Blossom, therefore Cobble the Grave is really nice. Now for the other cards, we're playing the 2 copies of Thrust, 2 copies of Talents, triple copies of Dark Valor and more, triple copies of Forbidden Droplets. This is just for like your interruptions, you know, your pieces of like your 10 cards that kind of like stop your opponent. You do have the 6 cards that like are just the actual negates, while this lets you search for other stuff. Like I wanted to play 2 and 2 just because if I do open this, it doesn't really hurt me. Like, you know, I had to discard one the other day when I was playing against a Melodious player. And then they did hit me with a hand trap, and then I was able to thrust, and I was still able to choose a copy of the Talents to take if I wanted it, which is important. So like being able to discard one of these depending on what you really have, and can like this can you set you the trap, which is nice as well. But being able to play multiples is really cool. If you open it up in your hand, you have to discard it earlier in the combo. Then we are also playing the Retribution and the 1 Duplication. So I'm not playing multiple duplications because you don't win all your die rolls. So the same reason why we're playing Dark Valor and more in the main deck. I don't feel like if you have both of them in the deck, it's going to be really good. So you either play like one of these, 3 Dark Valor and Morse, or 3 of these and no Dark Valor and Morse. I find that you can't really just play kind of both. So like when I'm going first, I have a lot of good cards in the deck. Being able to discard the copy of Dark Ruler and more and stuff like that. But going second, I have those cards also being able to like blow out cards like Dark Ruler that we do see. So, you know, I don't want to be making a board and then having like 2 copies of Duplication in the hand, because then I'm struggling to break that board. Going second, while going first, if I have multiple copies of a card, I can just always discard it for other effects, which is kind of important. Now for the extra deck, we are playing the double copies of Masquerade, the double copies of Albion, the 1 copy of Lubellion, the 1 copy of Titaniclad, the 1 copy of Sanctifier. This card does not need to be banned. Just ban Ido as well as the copy of Guinea Puppet. Then the deck cannot lock you consistently. You know, no one's going to be playing Razocypher really. You have no access to it, because the problem with the Guinea Puppet as well as the Ido lock is you can just consistently dump it off the Granganol, the 1 Rinbrum, and then the 1 Albalentus. So we're still playing this card because it's really good against Dragon Link. It also can be good against Fiendsmith if you like, or I guess Snake Eyes, if they leave the Diabellstar on the, or not the Diabellstar, but the Flame Witch on the field. In some really weird lines, you can like set the Albaz, or if they summon out the Albaz, you can activate the effect. Or if they summon out the guy, you can just go into this, banish their board. But this is just insane versus Tempai. It almost won me the game 3. Unfortunately, just didn't have enough. I didn't have a discard in their hand. I kind of misplayed there, which you guys are going to be seeing that on the channel this coming week. But I definitely just misplayed. Just I couldn't get enough for game with the not doing the discard. I forgot I had a discard off the Lubellion. I was like thinking about my math, and then I knew they had a Druid Worm, and then couldn't get there. That's it for the brand infusions. I don't really miss any of them. We are playing the 2 copies of Granganol, the 1 copy of Quiritus, and the 1/1/1. So the Furious Dragon is actually really insane. This card came up against plants. It also came up against Tempai as well, being able to like, when the Sorenir were trying to target to send this, I could just chain whatever it was targeting that card. Being able to destroy the card on the field is really nice as well. And the double Granganol is definitely needed for the Guinea Puppet lock. It helps you play through a hand trap. I do wish that I had room for the copy of the Lulu Walleth. Unfortunately, I just don't. You know, being able to summon like a Quiritus or a copy of the Quem can be nice, but if you already have the Quem on the field, which a lot of times you will have, because I like to go for the opening plays, like Quiritus doesn't really get you there a lot of the times as well, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I don't really think there's anything else I would want to play in it. If it was more cards, I would definitely add more stuff in. But for the side deck, which I'll be telling you guys some options that I've taken out or want to play, we're playing the 1 Magnuma, 1 Druisworm, 1 Baldrake, the 1 copy of the Shadal Dragon, and the copy of the Masquerade. So I really want to play the Marshmallow Pirellia, this guy here. I just don't really know where to fit it in. Like the copies of Bystials are really good this format in this deck. So like I want to keep the Magnuma and the Druisworm. I may consider taking out a Baldrake, but I want to play a set of these, so that's a problem. I thought about taking out the Shaddoll Dragon as well, but like with Runic being so relevant, as well as like Floodgates being played, if I have like Branded Fusion, being able to like, have an in, engine out, it just feels so insane to me. So I've just kept it in. This is just for time. A lot of your games go for a very long time, and so you just go into game 3, you go first, you get to set that up. They have a choice to make. Then for the going second cards, we are playing the triple copies of Book of Eclipse. These definitely could be sided out for the Pirellias. I just really like Book of Eclipse and like all the rogue decks, even against like Fiendsmith, it's quite nice. They're kind of like forced to out this, or else it just like kind of like they lose to it, which is nice. I'll just organize it a bit more. But definitely, like, this is just the start of the format. You know, we have a regionals coming up this weekend, so we might see some different engines or lists in that. Now, we're doing a little bit differently for going first. We're playing only 2 copies of D-Barrier, because we're also playing the 1 copy of Fusion Duplication. So the reason why I'm doing this is because when I go post-side going first, I now have 2 copies of D-Barrier, 2 copies of Duplication, as well as the 2 copies of Thrust, and also the Talents as well. So that gives me like 3 access to all of them. Depending on what I end up seeing in my hand, I can go for which whenever I need. If I need Duplication, I can go for Duplication. If I need D-Barrier, I can go for D-Barrier, which is just the reason why we're doing that. It kind of just fits the playset as well, being able to take it in easily for like Dark Brother No Mores. We can just swap it in quite nicely for the siding. Now, for our last cards here, we're playing 1 copy of Regeki, 1 copy of Duster, and the 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. So you might be wondering, like, oh, why Regeki? Honestly, Regeki is just a really weird card. I was playing against Tempai. Shout out to Uzman, and he Regeki'd me when I was playing Memento, and then he Regeki'd me when I was also playing the deck prior to what I was testing out Light Sworn or Sprite, and he Regeki'd me, and I just lost to that as well. So I was like, Regeki's low-key kind of crazy right now, but I don't want to like play multiple slots for it. So if I feel like the deck cannot be like the deck loses to like a copy of Regeki, I can always side this in going second, and then if I need it, I can just thrust forward, or if I open it up, it's quite nice. It's kind of the same like feeling of Duster. If you see it, you see it, but it's nice to have. And then of course the Cosmics are just like there so I can get rid of them. With like these, I have 4 copies of like back row removal, which I feel quite nice about. I didn't really feel like I needed to play a 3rd copy of Cosmic there. But this is obviously just in testing. Other stuff that didn't make the cut, I didn't put in the copy of wherever her name is, the Spriggan's kit. I didn't feel like it was necessary for it. Alongside the same thing with Branded and White, these 2 cards does not make the cut. I just found that like the deck is super consistent, and you don't want to lose to Droll and Lockbird, so like playing kit just feels like wrong. And then Branded and White, I always would play a second Branded Red over I play Branded and White. Therefore, this just didn't make the cut. Other than that, I think that like, you know, you could play if you wanted to Super Poly in the deck. I don't think that Super Poly is really good this format, therefore it's not in my list. But if you guys have any other recommendations, let me know in the comment section down below. Over to stay safe. Peace.